Oh, wow.
But that's why it's important to track, um, you know, your customer. To the best that you can, you want to find out how they got to you.
So that's the main purpose of the survey, kind of, because I've seen a lot of
Absolutely.
different, like, everything from finding like little job postings online to anything is like it will have a survey at the beginning, like, how'd you hear from us? Is it from
Right.
email or
hmm
something like that? So
That's
that's
exactly why they're doing it. It's a marketing tool to try to, like, basically give you feedback as to what is your best marketing source.
okay. So now, kind of shifting from like how you're advertising, now how do you plan now, like in from a planning aspect, how do you plan for like possible problems that might like come up and arise in the future?
You keep an annual budget,
Hmm.
okay, and obviously the budget is much easier to use as a source the longer you've been in business,
Hmm.
because you can kind of work off of uh, your present year, a 3, a 5, and a 10-year average. Okay, so you can kind of, however much you want. Usually, you don't go beyond a 3 to 5 year average, because if your business continues to grow, your budget is going to continue to grow. But um, these days it's a lot easier, simply because we know what our insurance is going to run. We know what our firm overhead is averaging annually. And that has a direct bearing on whether we give, at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, whether we give a bonus or whether we give raises. We can find if we kind of see what the effect that'll be over the course of the next year. So,
Okay.
yeah. So if you're going to increase your own salaries or your employees' salaries, you can kind of look. Well, can we do it in a way where we could pull from, maybe drop advertising for a little bit for 6 months, or would that be a mistake? And that's why the longer you're in business, the more, I'd say, not necessarily easier. It's just more accurate. Okay, if your levels are somewhat consistent,
And is that
whether
also because of like the longer you've been in the business, it's kind of like you've kind of learned like what risk,
absolutely.
like what each risk will probably most
hmm
likely entail?
Absolutely. You'll be
Okay.
able to look back over the previous number of years and say, okay, we invested X into advertising, and this is what our return was. Is it worth doing it to that same level? Is it worth increasing? Or maybe it's an area that you can cut and save, you know?
Mm. Now, when I was back home, I heard you talking about like some new bill that they were trying to pass in the state.
hmm
Now, when new bills like that are kind of starting to arise and might be getting close to where they might get passed, how do you, I guess, plan for that? How does each and how
Okay.
do clients
We,
react to that too?
and that, number one, we look at if it's going to affect, an area of law that we are involved in. We try to track, number one, what is going to happen. Like, for instance, okay, I'll give you two examples, and this is probably good to write down. For one, okay, we have been tracking the alimony bill this year, and the reason is because the alimony bill has two main elements. One, it if the bill passes, it's going to influence alimony cases, old and new.
Oh, wow.
And hidden in the bill is a kind of a subcategory that changes standards of custody. Instead of, it could change the standard to a presumption of 50-50 for parents. Okay? So we want to know what's going to happen with the bill, and we try to, gauge, you know, if the bill passes, what could we do? Because number one, if the bill changes something, that is going to influence the number of people that are going to go through divorces. We need to know that because it could either increase or decrease clients. You kind of want to track it to be prepared for it. Okay. In this case, it's not so much whether it will increase or decrease clients, but it may be a marketing tool. Okay, so let's say the alimony bill passes. We may want to send out a newsletter or a contact to all of our existing clients and former clients, letting them know what has changed and the impact it will have or could have on their particular cases, and that maybe asking that if they have any questions, please feel free to consult. Have a consult with us. Okay, and that's a revenue source that people coming in just to get a consult to see does it affect them at all. Okay, now let me give you another example. When the state decided that they were going to approve gay marriage, okay, I actually brought it up to our firm that maybe we ought to get kind of proactive in marketing to kind of get out there to push not necessarily gay rights, but explaining now that you can get married, maybe you want to have a consult to make sure you're doing it right and protecting your assets, okay? Because if gay marriage is there, well, guess what? Gay divorces is there, right?
Yep.
And so you want to track the laws, not just to see, oh my God, did something change and eliminate a whole revenue source, but sometimes the changes in law can drive, basic, advertising. It may be income, a new income source. Okay,